Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another live here with me, Ed Cooper from Action Coach Hinckley. I hope you're well, and I hope that January has been fantastic for you as you leap into 2022. I can't believe we're 1 week and 2 days already into February. Oh my goodness me, where does the time go? So February being that short month means that we need to do things probably just a little bit different. Our expectations will be a little bit different. Our focus might need to be sharper. Our actions might need to be a little bit quicker to make sure that we get everything that we can squeeze into that 28 days that we have in February. So welcome. Welcome to another live. We are theming today around team and the tips that will help you build your team. Even if at the moment you don't have a team, this live is really important to listen to, because if you're thinking in the future about team, getting yourself prepared, thinking about what you need to do now is massively important for the future. Make sure that you invest in yourself and learn as much as you possibly can as you take on that journey. If you already have a team, then again, this is an amazing session for you, because you are going to take away loads of tips that you can implement straight back into your business, and also get you thinking just a little bit differently about the future and your team. Good morning to everyone. I'm going to say good morning to a few people who are coming. Good morning, Jez. Nice to see you out there. I hope the sun's shining on you as much as it is in your picture there. Maybe not looking out the window. I got a bit of rain on this morning, dropping the kids off at school. Good morning, Chris. Nice to see you as well. I hope you are well and smiling. So, okay, let's be really honest. Your team can be your biggest competitive advantage or your biggest challenge that you have in your business. Think about where that is for you. If you could improve like even just 10% on where your team is right now, what would that mean to efficiencies? What would that mean to time back? What would that mean to savings and cost savings? What would that mean to customer service? And ultimately, what would it mean for you, for your profit, for your bottom line? A really great team out there will know about where the company's going, what the goals are, and what they have to do to achieve those goals. They'll understand why it's important to the business to achieve those goals and to themselves as well. They're an integral part of the organization. They're not just turning up and doing a job that you've been given to them. Their attitude will be excellent, and they'll look forward to coming to work as well. They'll be customer focused and really proud of what they do and what they deliver. If you have that already, fantastic, great. Let's see if we can take you up to that next level. If you don't and you're reflecting, going, do you know what, there's some bits in there that might just need a little bit of work, then definitely be listening in today. A lot of business owners that we talk to, and I coach as well, they will be stuck in some ways. They will be stopping moving from where they are, and my job as a coach is to understand why that is and to shift them, to move them forward, to break them through. But the question here is, why do people stay where they are? So if you're thinking about where you are in your business, the growth, the team, and so on and so forth, why is it that you've allowed to the situation that you have with your team right now occur? And a lot of the time it's because of our own internal fear. So our fear of maybe getting it wrong, or our fear of that whatever we try won't work. Maybe it's a fear of failure. Maybe it's a fear of like a cost that might be associated to it. Maybe it's a fear that your team might leave you if you raise the standards and you hold them to account. Whatever the fear is, the acronym that I use for fear is that they are false expectations appearing real. They're expectations that you think might happen. They are false because they've not been tested. You've not actually made the breakthroughs that you need to, or the actions that you need to take. They appear real because physically, mentally, they stop you from breaking through. Now, false expectations appearing real doesn't just land itself on team, it lands itself across the plethora of work and life in itself. So if you're ever steeped in fear, figure out what the expectations are that you're thinking about that might happen, and realize that they're probably false expectations appearing real, and use that to break through. So I'm going to get you to think about that acronym today when we're going through these tips on team. Now, as I go through this, Jez, Chris, anyone else that's listening, please add comments, drop in questions as they come along. If you've got a case study or a problem that's there and we need to talk about it, just get on the phone. We can talk about that and have that conversation. I'm here to support all local business owners to improve beyond where they are right now. So let's break into the tips that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share 7 different areas with you today. The first part, and I might have a bonus, I just thought I might have another bonus for you as well. The first part of any winning team has to sit with the leader. Okay, everything that goes on in your business is sitting at your feet. Whether you like it or not, that's the responsibility and the ownership that you have in your organization. So really strong leadership is incredibly important when you are leading your team. And that's going to take a huge amount of passion. If you're not passionate about what you do, where you're going, how you're going to build a business, the customers that you serve in the marketplace, how are your team going to be passionate about what you do? You've got to ooze that out to your organization and to your team so that it penetrates them and they get energized and excited and infected with that enthusiasm as well. So, and then the second part to that, passion and responsibility. Everything that goes on in your organization ultimately is your responsibility. So make sure that you have that outlook on your own personal leadership as well. Most of the time in business, I will ask these questions to business owners. Okay, so if you're the owner and the team have got a problem, who do they go to? And I'll say, well, they come to me. Right, okay. If the customer has a problem, who do they go to? Well, that's me as well. Okay, and if the business has a problem, who does it go to? Yeah, well, that'll be me as well. So everything gets pointed at you as a leader. Your job as a leader, and great leadership comes in being able to set yourself up in a way that your job is to look after your team, give them the training, the systems, the development, the focus, the goals, the pay on time, the bonuses if you do that in your organization, and the incentives, the thank yous, the inspiration, the passion, and you deliver that, you give that to your team wholeheartedly. And as a result of that, your team know exactly what they're doing, where they're going, and how to do it, and what good looks like. Their job is to go out and serve the customer, so that it's not, Chris Gunn that's at the head of the business, or Jez Wood that's at the head of the business, that the customer knows your name and has got your mobile number on speed dial if they ever need you. They get pointed to the team, and the team organize and support the customer and their journey to ensure that they get great service. And if the customer then is happy and they're looked after by the team, you're probably doing a good job. That means they're going to pay you, and then the business doesn't have the problems that it might have, maybe when it comes to finances and so on and so forth. So that's that pointed arrow towards you of team, customer, business actually starts to become more cyclical and circular to you look after the team look after the customer look after the business, and the business pays you and looks after you. So that's steeped in great leadership. So if you're looking at yourself now and going, well, I get what you're saying, Ed, but actually I don't know where to start when it comes to leadership skills, tips, tricks and techniques. We'll do another live on this, but come and have a conversation, or I'll direct you, if we have that conversation, to the relevant areas, books and things that you can read and listen to really steep yourself in leadership training and development. So that's the first one, is leadership. The second part is having a common goal, and it might seem really obvious. But what I tend to find when I'm talking to business owners is that they will say, when I ask them, what's your goal in your business, either this year or the next 10 years, like where you're going, where you're heading? And they'll say, well, either I haven't got one, or yes, I've got one, but it's in my head and it's not written down. Or if it is written down somewhere, and I ask, is it shared with the team? Do they know? Like if I was to ring them up at 2 o'clock in the morning and ask them what the vision or the goals of the business were this year, do they know? And the answer generally is no, they don't know. So therefore, they don't know which direction they're going. They're just turning up and doing what's in front of them today, which for a short period of time might be okay, but not for long. You know, when you roll those in month by month by month, people get bored and they don't get inspired. So your job as a leader then to create that common goal that they can aim towards is to engage them, to bring them in, to enroll them onto that road toward that goal and inspire them that what they're doing when they're turning up to work is bigger than themselves. And we all want to be some part of something that's bigger than ourselves. So inspire your team through a common goal. Once they've got that common goal, the next thing is that they need to know and understand what the rules of the game are. So this is tip number 3. They've got to know within the pitch, if you like the football pitch or the rugby pitch or whatever pitch you're playing on, they've got to know and understand how they need to perform within the rules. So if you don't have those set out, when you raise a flag to say that's not acceptable, it will be like that they won't understand why you're pulling them up on an unacceptable job. If you just allow them to run around the field however they want to run around in your business, then they might do a great job or they might not, and you won't get consistent performance. But if you think of your team as, let's just take the analogy of a rugby team. That the rugby is my sport, so that's what I'm going to. A lot of people do, you can do football, you can do netball, whatever you want, basketball, but let's just sit on rugby for a second. Every single person in that team knows what their position is. They know what the rules of the game are. They know when they need to perform or what they need to do in a particular situation. They know that within the boundaries of the pitch, the white lines around the boundaries, that if the ball goes out, then they have to stop and reset. They also know that where the goal line is, and when they get over that they're going to score and feel really good about that. So you have to do the same thing for your team. Do they really know and understand what good looks like for them in their role? So they will need things like positional contracts, roles and responsibilities. They're going to need to know what the standards are, or the values maybe of the organization as well. Now, look, this is a really important thing I need to share with you. If you are where you right now today, if your team don't know what that is, and you start defining it and implementing it, when you start raising your performance in your team and the standards in your team, the expectations in your team, not everybody is going to go along that journey with you. I guarantee it. So some people will leave, and that's not a bad thing. Worse if they stay and they don't hit the standard, and then you've got to deal with the fallout of that. So as you raise standards, as you raise the rules of the game, then that's not only are you going to potentially lose people, but also you will attract the right type of people to your business as well, and you can inspire them to join your company. So think about where you are with the roles and responsibilities of the team, and think about having those rules of the game really explicit and out there, and you will need to think about your culture of whether you're going to allow people to kind of get on and do what they need to do, or whether you're going to have a slightly tighter grip on that. So they would be the tips for me from making sure that you have the rules of the game. So tip number four is action plan. So we've got the common goal. We've got you in a great leadership perspective. People know the rules of the game. Well, now you need an action plan. This is where you start to put down your dreams, your goals, and your plans through to action. So really sit down and understand what it is that you're going to do. And then anybody who works with me, they will likely have a 5-year plan if they've done an alignment with me, an 18-month plan, and then every one of my clients will have a 90-day plan. They will be knowing exactly what they want to achieve in the next 90 days. And within that action plan, they will know who's doing what by when. And that's really, really key. Imagine if every single person in your business knew what they were doing and by when, and then they went and did that and delivered it to your business. How much more business do you think you would get, and how much more efficient and effective do you think you would get as well? Some comment here from Jez. Thanks, Jez, for dropping in and making this comment. Very useful pointers. I think we can definitely look at our focus and where our team's focus should be. Love that, Jez. Just one thing. We're just looking for one thing. We're not looking here, everyone is this, we're not looking for a revolution in your organization. Evolution. Do one thing, do it well, then the next thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. And before you know it, you'll get this compound effect of the performance of the team. You won't maybe not see a lot of change in the short term, but long term, boy, these things can really make a big difference. Okay, let's move on to the next. Let's follow on from the next point. So with your action plan, once you've got your action plan and you're leading your team and people know what they're doing, you need to put in the meetings cycle. Okay, so you need to make sure you've got work in progress meetings, team meetings. You might need financial meetings or marketing meetings or sales meetings with various different people. But your job as a leader looking down on your organization is to know that all these things tie up. And when they tie up really well and one knows what the other one's doing, but we're not siloizing or sitting in our own little groups, we're working together collectively as a team. And also within those roles and responsibilities, knowing what you need to delegate. So many business owners will say to me things like, "Oh, it's easier if I do it myself," I've got so much on my plate. I just haven't got time to go and train someone else to do this. And of course, my question is, well, what would happen if you did? How much time would you get back if you were to do that? When would you be able to do that if you could do it? And what would the outcome be if someone else was trained that? How much more time back would it give you? And therefore, what could you do with that time? So look, when you're looking at time in particular, I'm going to give you one of the most powerful tips that I learned many years ago. And that is the gift of a week. I want to give you, everyone listening, 1 week back in your life. How cool would that be? If you had a working week back in your life to do whatever you wanted to do with, right? So you could work on your business strategically, you could recruit people, you could do systems, you could go on holiday, whatever you want to do. Well, here's the tip with time. Work out one thing that you do daily that takes you 10 minutes and you don't need to do it, or you can delegate it to someone else and do that. Just get rid of it. 10 minutes, that's it. So just think, what do I do that takes me 10 minutes that I'm doing I know I shouldn't do? Or maybe I'm just wasting already, so I can just stop doing it. I don't even have to delegate, I just stop doing it. Do that one thing, get rid of that. That 10 minutes rolled up 5 days, that's 50 minutes, nearly an hour a week. You probably work 46 weeks of the year, maybe even a little bit longer for some of you, 46 weeks of the year, right? That's 40 hours. That's your whole week back in your business. How cool would that be if you could just get that week back just by getting rid of 10 minutes? So do that one thing. You're also going to need, once everybody knows exactly what the action plan is, I mentioned to have roles and responsibilities and reviews and so on and so forth, positional contracts. But you're going to need systems manuals. You're going to need to systemize your business so everybody understands what the standards are. And you're going to need to review that, reward people and thank them for a great job as you run through. Okay, so look, we've done 4 already. Strong leadership, common goal, rules of the game, action plan. The next one is support risk taking. Now, some of you in business are probably in businesses that don't really advocate risk taking. It might not seem obvious to do that. So Jez, I know you're in an electrical company. You know, you've got to really understand what we mean by support risk taking, right? Within that, what we mean by it is support risk taking when it comes to business growth, ideas, marketing plans, opening new innovations within the organization. Support that risk taking opportunity for people. Create an environment where freedom to allow people just to be the best they can be will in turn give them an opportunity to change and improve what you're doing. If you are the type of leader that just says, turn up, do what I say when I tell you to do it, I'll pay you and you go home, then that's exactly what you're going to get. You won't get any more from that. You won't build the relationship that inspires the individuals to think beyond themselves. So do support risk taking, even if it's within an environment, a controlled environment. If you look at dynamic, inspiring companies like Google, for example, they have like Fridays, or I think it's half a day on a Friday. People can pretty much do whatever they want to do. Well, great innovation comes from that. That's where things like Google Maps came. So what could your team do if they just had 1 hour to do that type of thing? So number 6 is 100% involvement and inclusion. 100% involvement and inclusion. Now, there's 2 elements to this. Number 1 is your job as a leader is to involve your team in the things that are important in the business. 100% involvement and inclusion. The other side of that is to expect your team to be involved 100% and include themselves 100% in what's going on in the organization as well. It's really easy to say, for people in business to say, well, that's not for them, they're not involved in that. Or it might be easy for them to for the individual to say, well, that's their job, not mine, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to turn a blind eye to it because it's got nothing to do with me. You need them involved. Involvement and inclusion, when you do that, when you open up to individuals, it creates an environment of trust, and trust is mega important to be able to build the organization and the strength of the people within the organization, to build that competitive advantage. If your team trust each other and they're involved with each other, they will perform to a much higher level. Okay, so let's get on to the last one. The last one is communication. Communicate, communicate, communicate 3 times. That's what you need to do. Is whatever you're doing, communicate a bit more. Right? That's the top tip. Just do that, and then everything else will follow and flow from that. But it's never as simple as that, right? So communication, the phrase that I love about communication is the result you get. Okay, communication is the result you get. So if you have asked someone to do something and the output of what they've delivered is not your expectation, you have to look at your own communication. What is it that you said that caused them to believe that that's what they needed to do? Okay. So within communication being a two-way thing, asking for something and then asking clarifying questions and getting involved in that communication, that conversation is mega important to understand everybody knows what they're doing and they understand the expectations. So look at your communication, give yourself a score, maybe out of 10 on communication, and say, do people do what I expect them to do when I communicate to them? And if the answer is no, then look at your own communication style and words and see what can be created there. I'm just going to dive into a couple of comments here. Kate says, so true. And communication creates trust within your team. And if it's the right communication, absolutely, Katie, 100%. So, you've got this element of involvement and inclusion and communication that's going to build trust. And I would actually argue that if you're a great, strong leader with a common goal, people know and understand the rules of the game, they've got an action plan that you're working with them on, and you're inspiring them to enroll and be involved in your business, and you're supporting risk taking, and you've got them included and you're communicating, all of those things help to build trust. And with trust, anything can be built. Genuinely, if you lose trust in your business through your team or your customers or anyone else, you will find that the bedrock, that the trust, as it crumbles, will start to topple your organization. So build the trust within your organization. Now, one of the things that I haven't mentioned on here, because as we dive into team, we look at as if you've already got a team, right? So I'm looking at it as if you've already got a team. But one of the things here is when you have implemented these 7 things in your team, it makes it so much easier and better to go and recruit the right people, because your expectations of them through the recruitment process are already laid out. You can already tell them where you're going. You can share with them the standards of the organization. You can tell them when they have meetings and the expectation on the involvement and so on and so forth. And that will either get the individual to go, that's not a team that I want to be part of, thank you very much. Or, wow, finally, I found a team that feels like home to me. You've got me for life. Let's sign up. You are the company I want to work for. So, so do consider that as well. If you're looking to recruit a team, this needs to be thought of as part of that process before you put the advert out on whatever platform you're using or whatever company you're using. Jez, thanks for this question. Are the pointers available to look back on after the session? Jez, 100% they are. If you go to my website, I'm going to put it in here. Let me just put it up. All right, so I'm going to put my website address into the comments, and you will find it on my website. So these tips that are there, have a look back. You can download some information, take that away with you, and use it. Sit down with your team, share it with them, share it with other business owners. If you want to talk to me about any of the tips at all on today's session, feel free to get in contact with me at edcooper@actioncoach.co.uk. Visit us on our website, or LinkedIn message me or Facebook message me, and I will get back to you. I always mention that we run events and seminars every month. So our next one is running next Wednesday, which is the 16th of February, here in our offices, right where I'm sitting now. And we are going to be sharing with you some amazing tips to get your business growing even further with our tried and tested system. Come along to that. It's a small group. I only ever have 6 people on my sessions because I really want to work and focus on the individuals that are there for their benefit. But I do have 1 space left next week. So if you're up for that, come along. I need to put the Eventbrite link in, don't I? Because I always get told off if I don't do this. So let me put the Eventbrite link into the live as well. If you want to come along to that, if you think someone else would benefit from that, please do share it with them. I would be eternally grateful. That's it from me. Thank you so much for joining the conversation today. We're going to continue with team over the next few weeks. I wish you the very best and of success this week. Go and hit just 1 small personal best this week and feel amazing about the results that you get at the end of it. Take care. See you next Wednesday, 9:30. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.